Hello, 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 family. Welcome to the 11 a.m. Talk with Angel Charmaine, also known as Natty Knowledge. For those of you who are new into the space, I am an authenticity coach as well as the owner of Speak Up Sis LLC. We're an empowerment enterprise. We create spaces and provide opportunities for everyday people just like you to open up your mouth and share your story, share your voice, and your power. So come into the space. Feel free to chop it up with us. I welcome your comments. I welcome your conversation. Today, we're going to be talking about setting boundaries without feeling guilty. And yesterday, we talked about burnout and how burnout sneaks up on you and kind of leaves you drained and exhausted and disconnected. And one of the things that we need to do to help us be able to overcome burnout and to stay out of a place of burnout is to set boundaries. And oftentimes we find ourselves burnt out because we don't know how to set boundaries. We sometimes we feel guilty. We know we need to set them, but then we feel guilty about setting them. So today we're going to talk about setting boundaries without feeling guilty. So I welcome you all into the space. This is a conversation that will be beneficial to you. Hello, how you doing? Thank you so much for the daily heart me. You I love. I appreciate you. This is a conversation that will help you personally. It'll help you professionally. It'll even help you spiritually. If you're a mom, if you're a dad, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an author, if you're a business owner, whatever it is that you do in this world, you need boundaries. Even as a parent, let me say this, even as a parent, you need boundaries. So we're going to talk about that today. And like I said yesterday, we did talk a lot about burnout, and we talked about what exactly is burnout. We looked at some ways that we get to a place of burnout, and we talked about how to deal with burnout, how to pull yourself up out of a place of burnout. And so today I want to focus on boundaries. Okay, because if we can just be real about this thing, many of us say yes when we really mean no. Many of us say yes when we absolutely mean no. We overcommit, we overextend ourselves, and then we're left feeling very resentful, right? Overwhelmed, exhausted, angry, and frustrated at people because we chose to say yes to things that we absolutely should have said no to, right? But I'm going to tell y'all something today. Boundaries are biblical. Listen, boundaries. Let me look square at. Let me look at everybody. Boundaries are biblical. Listen, I've got multiple devices here. So if you are brand spanking new into the room, if you see me kind of looking down, you see me looking over, you see me looking up, it's because I'm looking at different devices, and I like to be able to connect with all the people who are watching. Okay, so today we're going to talk boundaries. We're going to talk boundaries. Drop the word boundaries in the chat if you know you need to get better at protecting your time, your energy, and peace. If you know you need to get better at protecting your time, your energy, and your peace, I want you to put the word boundaries in the chat. Hey, Cherise, how you doing, beautiful? Thank you so much for watching on TikTok. Thank you so much. I would absolutely love for those of you who are watching, whatever platform you're watching on, I would really, really appreciate if you would share out the live or at least add a friend into the conversation. Hello, Harold Best Thoughts. Good morning. Thank you so much for watching on our YT channel. I appreciate you. If you all are not already subscribed to the Speak Up Sis YT channel, I invite you to do that. All right. And I also see your boundaries in the chat, sis. I see you. You got boundaries. Cherise, she is type boundaries over on TikTok as well. And so that is what we are going to be focusing on today. We're going to focus on boundaries because I know that I am not the only person who has issues with setting those boundaries, and not just setting the boundaries, but enforcing enforcing those boundaries. Okay, so let's go ahead And let's jump into the first thing that I want to talk to you all about today. Why saying yes to everything can lead you to burnout. I told you yesterday, we talked about burnout. We talked about all the ways we get there, why we get there. So I want to talk about how not choosing to set boundaries, why saying yes to every single thing instead of saying no to the things that don't align to your purpose, why they will lead to burnout. So let's first take a look at some of the problems, right? When you say yes to too many things, you inevitably are saying no to yourself. When you say yes to all of these different things that don't align with your purpose, things that are not connected to the vision that God has given you, things that don't serve you at all and really aren't serving the people who are connected to you, excuse me, you are saying no to you, to your purpose, to vision, and to other people. When you say yes to folks, but you're not willing, able, capable to give your best, you are not willing, able, capable of operating in a place of excellence, then you are saying no to yourself and no to your best self. I need you to understand that. Saying yes oftentimes is a big old no to yourself. And many of us fear saying no because we don't want to disappoint people, right? We feel like we're going to be missing or we're going to miss out or we're not going to be helpful, right? And I'm telling you that is not the truth. It is absolutely not the truth. We are taught that being available 24/7 is a sign of strength. We are taught that, we talked about this yesterday, multitasking, being the super person, wearing all the hats. Like that is a sign of strength. We wear this big S on our chest for super and strong and all the things. When in reality, it is simply a path to exhaustion. It's simply a path to exhaustion. And when you refuse to set boundaries, when you refuse to say no, and you find yourself in these predicaments, then you're going to end up emotionally burnt out. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to be irritable, right? You're going to feel like you have nothing left to give. It is inevitable when you overextend yourself, when you put yourself in these situations where you're constantly saying yes, when you really should be saying no. You're going to have some physical exhaustion. You're going to be constantly tired, right? You're going to keep trying to push yourself, but you're going to be wore out. Sometimes your body may not be tired, but it's going to be your mind that will be tired. Your soul will be tired. You're not going to have the energy. You're going to feel like just numb. Why? Because you're going to be physically exhausted. Resentment and frustration comes about when you give people a yes when you really should give them a no. Now you're going to resent them for even asking you. I don't know about y'all, but I have been in that place before where I want to help. I love helping. I love doing all the things that God has called me to do. But when I overextend myself, when I don't set proper boundaries, when I allow myself to go into places that I shouldn't go into, when I allow myself to do things that I know I shouldn't do, when I do things that I know that I really don't want to do, then I often will get into a place of resentment and frustration. And you know why you start feeling resentment and frustration? Because you feel unappreciated. Anytime you start to feel unappreciated, you're going to get these feelings of resentment and frustration. But the problem is, thank you so much. Hey, Rise with Cecilia, thank you so much for your daily heart me. The issue with this is that you're the one who could have said no. It's the reason you're feeling resentment, the reason that you're feeling frustrated is because you said yes instead of no. This is the problem with not setting boundaries. Today, we're talking about setting boundaries without feeling guilty. Because we talk about you need to set boundaries, you need to set boundaries, you need to set boundaries, you need to set boundaries. But we need to talk about the feelings that come about when we set those boundaries. When you have to tell your children no, I don't have the money to give you. No. When you have to look at your, look, when you have to look at your loved one and say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to get you that new thing that you wanted. When you have to go to work and you have to tell, you have to say to your colleagues or even your supervisor, like, I know y'all are used to me picking up all of the extra hours when people are, but you know what? I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. Not for a while. There are these feelings of guilt, almost like you're gonna lose something. It feels like you're gonna be rejected. It feels like people are gonna be mad with you and frustrated with you and angry with you because you're not doing all the things. So today I want to make sure that we get a really good understanding of the importance of setting boundaries, and then setting boundaries without that feeling of guilt. And even when that feeling of guilt arises, knowing that it is okay to sit it to the side and keep on moving. When you say yes to things that you really should say no to, you also lose purpose. You get a loss of purpose of what it is that you are supposed to be doing, because you get so busy doing everything for everyone, right? That you lose sight of what God has called you to do. You will lose sight of your very own purpose because you talking about, okay, I can do this over here, and Angel, can you do this? Yeah, I can do that. And okay, I'll make that happen. I'll flip some things around. I'm gonna try to do this and this. And so now you have said yes, to everything, until you're working on everybody else's purpose. You're working on everybody else's thing, right? And you have lost sight of what it is that God has called you to do. You have lost sight of what God has called you to do. But let me tell you, y'all know, you listen, when you start talking about feelings and guilt and stuff like that, you got to go to the word, because folks get because I know y'all are believers, and I know you might not believe what Angel says, but prayerfully you're going to believe what the word says. And Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Everything doesn't have to happen at the same time. Just because you can do something does not mean that you should do something. Hear what I'm telling you. Just because you can do it doesn't mean that you should do it. Have you ever found yourself in a place? Have you ever found yourself in a place where you have said yes to doing something when you knew you did not have the time or the capacity or the energy to do it? Have you ever? Put a yes in the comments for me. If you have ever said yes to something you knew you didn't have the time or the energy for, put yes in the comments, because I know I'm not by myself here. Cherie says yes. Thank you for your honesty today. Thank you for your honesty today. Harold Bed says, I had to learn to say no when I know I don't have the capacity to help. Exactly. Good morning, Miss Vicky. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you. Miss Vicky is giving us a yes in the comment. In the comments, she said yes. She's been in that place where she has given people a yes when she absolutely needed to give them a no. I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. And here's the thing. How about I don't want to do it? Do you all know that it is okay to give somebody a no, not because you don't have the time, not because you don't have the capacity, but there are certain things that you don't want to do just because you don't want to do it. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't want to do it because I don't want to. I don't like this thing. Let me tell you, this is something that's difficult to do when you are in business. When you are in business for yourself and you are wanting to grow. I have found myself in situations where I'm like, okay, I know I need money for this. I need to generate revenue for that. I need this to happen. I need that to happen. And so opportunities will present themselves that will help me to meet the need that I think that I have, right? But it will require that I do something, go somewhere, connect with someone that I just don't want to. And so then I have a decision to make. Do I connect or not? Do I do this thing because I need to meet this need? Or do I just say no because I don't want to? That's a hard place to be in. It is a difficult place to be in. But I'm telling you, it is so possible. If you are on TT, please make sure you're tapping the screen. We have not even gotten to 1,000 taps yet. I've been on here for 22 minutes and I only have 259 taps. Please make sure that you are power tapping on the screen. I would greatly appreciate that. All right. The second thing I want to say to you all today, right, is that Jesus had boundaries. Thank you so much for loving on the screen, Sharice. I really appreciate you. Jesus had boundaries. Let's take a look. Let's go into Mark. Let's go into Mark. Mark 1 and 35. Let's go into the book of Mark. Mark 1 and 35 says, now in the morning, having risen a long while before daylight, he went out and departed to a solitary place, and there he prayed. The next verse says, and Simon and those who were with him searched for him. That means Jesus separated himself. We need to take time to separate ourselves. We need to look, I have given everything I need to give. Okay. I've fed the people. I've helped the people. I've prayed for the people. And you know what? Now I need to make sure that I have some boundaries so that like yesterday we talked about setting time for yourself. Like that's creating a boundary. Like I'm going to be doing this from 9 to 5, and then from 5 to 6, I don't want to talk to nobody. From 5 to 6, I'm not taking no calls. I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to separate myself so that I can unwind from my full day. Right? You might say between 7 and 8, I don't want to talk to 7 and 8 in the morning because my work day starts from 9 to 5. Well, from 7 to 8, then I'm not talking to nobody. I don't want to meet with nobody. I want to sit with myself from 7 to 8. I'm going to take an hour before I start my day, and I'm going to take an hour when my day is over so I can sit and reflect. But how many of us feel guilty about setting these boundaries? You know, we taught ourselves that saying no is rude, is selfish, but it's not. It looks exactly like what Jesus did. No, right now you can't talk to me. I need to steal away some time for myself. I need to say no to this. It's important for us to understand that boundaries are healthy. Boundaries are biblical. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at how Jesus set these boundaries for himself, right? He prioritized his time with the Father. How many of you prioritize time with the Father? How many of you are prioritizing it? If Jesus needed time alone, so do you. I don't know why we think that we can push and do all the things. No, you need to. Right? Jesus knew when to walk away. He knew when to walk away. Do you know when to walk away? Do you know when to say, I'm done here? I've been here too long. I promise you, there are some of you who are connected to people, places, things, groups, situations, jobs, and all sorts of things. But because you've been there for so long, because you have so much history, because sometimes you have to walk away from things, even if the thing didn't do anything to you. Sometimes we feel like the only time we need to walk away is when somebody did something to us. No, Some things, your time has just expired and it's time to move on. And it's not that a person is bad. It's not that a situation is good. Some things just take time that you no longer have. Some things require more energy than you're able to give at the time. It's not that the thing is bad or is wrong. It's just right now I need to walk away from it and not feel any kind of way, right? Luke chapter 5. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on a second. In Luke chapter 5, Luke chapter 5, verse 15, it says, however, the report went around concerning him all the more, and great multitudes came together. So I'm going to go back up. Hold on a second. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up to verse 12. Chapter 5, verse 12 says, and it happened when he was in a certain city, he being Jesus, that behold, a man who was full of leprosy saw Jesus, and he fell on his face and implored him, saying, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. Now, I want you to notice something. Jesus is out. That's exactly, Cherie says, expired. The time has expired on a situation. Now, I want you to notice Jesus is in a place. He sees someone who needs help, right? There's a leper that needs to be cleansed. So the person says, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. Then he put out his hand and touched him, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. So I want you to notice Jesus is out. There's someone who needs him. And it's like, if you're willing to help me and cleanse me, right? Jesus says, I'm willing. He gets to work. He cleanses him, right? Immediately the leprosy left him, and he charged him to tell no one. Jesus told him, don't tell nobody what I just did. Okay? Don't tell nobody what I just did. Have you ever been in a situation where someone needed your help, you helped them, but you weren't in a position or a situation, it wasn't a time for you to be doing that with everybody. So you were like, I'm going to help you. I don't have no problem, but just keep this between us for right now, right? So Jesus said, but go and show yourself to the priest and make an offering for your cleansing as a testimony to them, just as Moses commanded. Verse 15, however, the report went around concerning him all the more, and great multitudes came together to hear and to be healed by him of their infirmities. Verse 6, so he himself often withdrew into the wilderness and prayed. Notice, Jesus, somebody needed help. Jesus said, I'm willing, I'm going to help you. Don't go tell nobody what I did. Just go to the priest as a testimony to what has happened. But word got out that this guy, Jesus, is doing all this healing and stuff. So Jesus started, of course, he's going to help some folks, but he knew when he needed to steal away. Verse 16 says, so he himself often, often, often withdrew into the wilderness and prayed. Even Jesus understood that, yes, I want to help people. I've been put here to help people, to serve people, to draw people to the kingdom. That's my purpose. That is why I'm here. But Jesus knew when to walk away. And the Bible says that he did it often. He did it often. So if Jesus had to walk away often, why won't you? He was in high demand. Some of us think too highly of ourselves in this way. Like, oh, I'm so needed, and the people just need me, and what I have to offer. And God has just given me this thing. He's called me to the nations, and so you burden yourself down. But even Jesus was like, let me go steal away some time in the mountains by myself. Let me go into the wilderness by myself. Let me go pray to the Father. Let me go sit with the Father. And he did this often. And he was in high demand. I don't think any of us are in more demand than Jesus was in his time. He did not let the pressure keep him from resting. If Jesus could say no to people, right? He was able to heal when he was ready. He still fulfilled his purpose. Why do we feel like we have to be available all the time? If Jesus could rest, if he could say, like, not today, if he could say, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing right now. right? He even told his mother at the beginning when she was like, when they were at the wedding, his very first miracle, an open miracle, and he said, and his mom was like, they ran out of wine. Jesus looked at his mama and was like, what you asking me for? It's not my time. It's not the time for me to be doing miracles. Thank you so much, Patrice Petrus, for the daily heart meme. This not like, come on. Even Jesus was like, Mama, it's not my time to be doing miracles. So if Jesus could say no to people, if he could heal when he was ready and do when the Father led him to do it, not before and not after, why do you think that you are in so high demand that you cannot set boundaries to say no to people? You telling me you are in higher demand than the Messiah himself? You are not. You are not. You need to set boundaries. Boundaries are biblical. I'm trying to show this to you today. For those of you who want to feel guilty, because we're talking about setting boundaries without the feeling of guilt. So many of us, oh my gosh, God gave me this thing and I just don't want to. If you say that the Lord gave you this thing to do, then why do you think going against how he tells you to do it is going to fulfill the thing that he told you to do? He expressly told us to work, right? Put your hands to the plow, work while it is day, work while you have the time, but I'm giving you 6 days to do it in. And on the 7th, I need you to take a chill pill. So why do you think that he would cause you to work outside of his way to do what he told you to do? It doesn't make sense. So all the people who are telling you, when you just starting out, you need to be on your grind. You need to hustle. Like you don't want to let that money go. Somebody willing to do it. You need to show up. You need to show up. You need to show up. Listen, that is the world's way. That is not God's way. The God never told us to hustle, grind, don't get no sleep. He said his very own son is a Sabbath rest for us. Why would you be trying to run yourself ragged, telling everybody yes so you can get a couple coins when he told you that you can have his favor as his child? He owns all the cattle on 1,000 hills. Why would you be stressing yourself out trying to get a bag when you can have the favor of the one who owns all the bags? Make it make sense today. Please make it make sense today. I'm trying to help you. I promise you, today we're talking about setting boundaries without feeling guilty. Setting boundaries without feeling guilty. Hey, Dina, how you doing, sis? She said, ding, ding, ding. Oh, Dina says, I have an addict mindset. I get addicted to people, places, and things, which steals my time. Ooh, I'm so glad that you said that, Dina. Dina says she has an addict mindset. This feeling of, and one thing, if you are a true bona fide giver, people will say that they're givers, and I'm like, you not. If you are a bona fide giver, if you are a person who really loves helping other people, and you will realize that there is a high that a true giver gets. If you love people and you just love to help and you love to give, there is a high. It's a natural kind of high that will come over you. That's why the Lord tells us to seek his face in all things. You want to even seek his face in your giving, seek him in your doing. Why? Because, like Dina says, you can develop this addict's mindset because when you truly enjoy giving to people, it makes you feel good. Giving to people can quickly shift into something proudful. Being a giver can shift into into pride, because you'll be like, oh gosh, you love the feeling that someone needs you. You love the feeling that you were able to help somebody. You love this feel, like it's this feeling. And so what'll happen is you'll want to do it more. Like anybody who comes along, oh, I can just help, I want to help. And then the next thing you know, you have given all of your time, all of your money, all of your energy, all of your everything into things that God did not tell you to do. Please understand, every good thing is not necessarily a God thing for you. Every good deed is not necessarily a deed that the Lord is leading you to do. And it's so important that we understand this. So I thank you, Dina, for saying this, because it is the truth. We can get addicted to giving out those yeses because of the adoration that comes to you, because of the feeling that comes over you of being able to help somebody. When you genuinely help somebody that you know needed your help, the look on their face of appreciation, right? It'll give you a high. To have people say, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would have done if you didn't show up. Listen, you'll get a high from it. And if you're not careful, baby, you will find yourself in a place you don't want to be in. And the next thing you know, you like, why is it that everybody not listen? Then you get into frustration, and now you get into these feelings of what's the word that I said earlier? Resentment. Because now you got people dependent on you. So now they calling you because you so excited, you so ready to help, you so ready to divvy out that help. So now when the people start calling you, now when they want you, now you resent them. Now you feel guilty having to say no. Why? Because you done said yes so many times. The Lord didn't tell you to say yes, that you feel guilty when you got to say no. You got to be careful. Absolutely. Dina says, I became overwhelmed and felt defeated. I ended up giving more than I had to give, if that makes absolutely. Absolutely. I truly understand that. I remember a time, and this is a transparent moment for me. I remember a time when I didn't have much, just like now, I don't have much of my own. But I remember the Lord would send people, He would lead people to me to help. But the help they were getting didn't come from my own personal coffers. He would send someone, like somebody would be like, Angel, I just want to be a blessing. They'd send me $100. And then the Lord would send somebody who needed $100. And then I would just know this $100 isn't for me, this $100 is for the person. So here I wasn't giving from my own empty place. The Lord was simply using me as a conduit. He knew if I give it to you, you'll give it to them, right? So I wasn't missing anything. I wasn't lacking anything. I wasn't without anything. Why? Because I knew He was giving it so that it could be released. There's a difference between you pulling it from yourself and giving it versus the Lord handing it to you to give. So here's the thing. You can say, well, Angel, I don't have it. But if it wasn't yours in the first place, God leaves it to you to give. You haven't lost anything. You only lose when you're trying to give what wasn't given to you to give. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that makes sense to you. Dina, that's good. She says, I've learned to network with others who can meet the needs. Absolutely. Absolutely. All good. All good. Good commentary. Thank you so much for joining in the conversation with me and talking with me. Y'all know I don't like to talk to myself. I don't like to talk to myself. Right? So if Jesus could say no to people, I need you all to start being able to say no. just say no. Jesus didn't let others' expectations control him. Oftentimes, we're so concerned about other people's expectations of us. Baby, have expectations for yourself. Don't set no expectations for me. You need to have you need to expect God, and you need to expect yourself. Don't set no expectations for Angel. So Siri says, I used to be that way. Give, and then burn out from giving. Absolutely. Listen, if you say that you're going to be a blessing to someone, then that means you got to ask yourself, where's the blessing coming from? Is the blessing coming from me, or is the blessing coming from the Lord? I always lead people back to the power source. Anytime you are doing something, you want to take a look at the power source. Where is it coming from? If you say, I just want to be a blessing to you, then where did you get that blessing from? Where did that blessing come from? Is the Lord blessing you to be a blessing, or are you the source of the blessing and you blessing? Then that ain't got nothing to do with God. If you the blessing, if you're it, and you're like, I just want to be a blessing, so I'm just gonna give this to this person so I can be a blessing. Well, then that's between you and that person. That ain't God. It's different when God gives you the thing that he wants you to bless somebody else with. We have this idea, I just want to be a blessing. I just want to be a blessing. No, you want to be used by God to bless other people. There's a difference in the mindset. There's a difference in the perspective. There's a difference in the vantage point. You must always, this is how you set boundaries. This is how you don't get burnt out. This is how you don't resent people. Because if you establish in your head that people being blessed is something that the Lord does, and he uses his children to be able to do that. He'll even use people that ain't his children to do it. The Lord will use whomever or whatever he chooses to be a blessing to whomever he wants to bless. So the prayer is, Lord, I'm willing. You can use me. And so if he can use you, he's not going to require you to pull out of your own resources. He's going to give you what it is that, you know why? Because you don't know what people truly need. He does. You don't, but he does. He knows that Susie needs this. You don't know what Susie needs. Sometimes Susie may tell you what she needs, and she don't even know what she needs, but God does. And because Susie is praying to him, he knows that he can use Angel, so he will ensure that Angel is able to provide exactly what Susie needs, so that Susie won't say, oh, Angel, thank you so much, you're amazing. No, Susie will say, my God, I thank you, because I didn't even realize I needed this. I thank you, Angel, for letting God use you. There's a difference. There's a difference. Today, I want to help you all learn to set boundaries without feeling guilty. And I need you to understand that even Jesus, even the one that we follow, the one we say is our sovereign and our savior, had boundaries, because boundaries are definitely biblical. Jesus didn't let other people's expectations control him. He absolutely did not. Let's go take a look in the book of John. I love the book of John. If y'all have not read the book of John, you really need to do so. It demonstrates the deity of Christ. You all take a read through it. Chapter 11, verse 6 says, so when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. Then after this, he said to the disciples, let us go to Judea again. Understand, Jesus didn't move on people's timing. He moved when God said move. He knew when to wait. He knew when to go. He knew when to say no. For those of you who don't know what that reference is, it's a reference to Lazarus. Lazarus was one of Jesus' good friends. He was a friend of the family. I'm gonna go back up. Let me go up to the top of the chapter for those of you who don't understand the reference point here. John chapter 11 says, now a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore the sisters sent to him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. Then after this, he said to the disciples, let us go to Judea again. I read the fullness of it, so you, for those of you who don't know the story, can understand the scripture, the passage, John 11:6, where it says, so when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. Understand, Jesus gets word. He's in a different place. Jesus gets word that Mary, the with the alabaster box, right? She poured out all of this fragrance stuff. Like, he loved Mary, he loved Martha, he loved Lazarus. These were his people, right? He loved them. He gets word that Lazarus, Mary and Martha's brother, he's deceased. He loves them. Mary, she says, like, you need to come quick, right? You love him. The one that you love is sick. He was not dead at the time he was sick. And listen, Jesus said he's sick, but not unto death. He's sick, but he's gonna be all right. And he stayed where he was 2 days. Now I need you to sit with that for a minute, because I want you to think about it as a mother, as a wife, as a husband, as a best friend, as a favorite business partner, or whatever. If you get a call that says so and so is sick and I need you to come now, the people's expectation is that you will drop what you are doing and you will go. But listen, when you are listening to the Father for your direction, if he tells you don't go right now, they're going to be all right, but I want you to finish what you're doing right now, and then I want you to go. You've got to be willing to not be concerned about other people's expectations of what you do to get you to move outside of what God has already said. Jesus was not moved by the whole, because notice what was said. Therefore, so this passage tells us, first thing, the closeness that he was with these people, right? So it says, it was that Mary who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil and wiped his feet with her hair. Notice the person who wrote this is giving us, like, kind of credentialing Mary. This is not anybody. This is somebody who has poured out everything she had for Jesus. She be riding for Jesus, right? She loved Jesus. So we get this qualification of who has placed the expectation on him. Think about that in your own walk. You have people who are like, I'm your best friend. I'm your, I love you more than everybody else love you. I done bought all your books. I done came to all your events. Like, right? They're qualifying themselves as someone who should be able to place this expectation on you, and you should say yes. Notice what's being said and how it's being said. Therefore, the sisters sent to him, saying, and this is what the sisters, when they sent for Jesus, this is what they said: Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. Not only did the scripture qualify Mary to say this is somebody that, that actually loves Jesus, right? Not only was Mary qualified, the person with the expectation, but when Mary sent the message, she reminded him, like, this your friend that you love, he's sick. We need you to come on. I need you to hear. Jesus did not allow other people's expectations to move him. Jesus, the Son of the living God, had boundaries. Why do we think we don't need them? Scripture says when Jesus heard that, you got to ask yourself, what did he hear? He heard Mary's message. Scripture says when Jesus heard that, what did he hear? He heard a message from Mary, a strong supporter, someone who truly loves him, telling him that his good friend is sick and we need you to come now. So when Jesus heard that, Scripture says that Jesus said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it. And then Jesus, right, stayed still. He didn't move. He stayed where he was for 2 more days. I want to encourage you today. Don't let the expectations of other people, I don't care how close they are to you. I don't care how much you love them and they love you. When you create boundaries, when you say, Wednesday is my day of rest. It is the only day that I have off from work. It is the only day that I don't have to run around my children. It is the only day that my husband is going to leave me alone. This is my day. I don't care how much you love me. I don't care how much I love you. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care. This is my day of rest. When you establish that boundary for yourself, you can't let other people who come up on a Wednesday like, oh my gosh, girl, let me tell you, there's this thing I want you to do. You know, you're my girl. You know, I love you and I need you to do this and I need you to do that and I need you to do this. And girl, this is so important. You have got to be able to say, I love you. And you know I do. And you know I appreciate you. But you also know that I have been burnt out and stressed out. And you also know, because I told you that I set Wednesday as my day to do nothing. And so, sis, I'm going to have to say no. I appreciate you for thinking of me. I'm really happy. I'm like, yes, yay. I'm rejoicing with you. But it's a no for me. I can't do it. And you got to stand on that. And you can't feel guilty because you know her expectation when she showed up. The reason girl, you know, I love you and I love you. And we've been riding, but she's qualifying herself. She's she coming up to you, letting you know I got to expect. I'm placing an expectation on our friendship. I'm putting an expectation on this love. I'm putting an expectation. And I know that you know, and you got to be able to say, me and the Lord done dealt with this. This is my rest day. And it's a no for me. And don't feel no guilt about it. Don't feel no guilt about it. Understand? Put in the comments, what is an area in your own life that you know you need to set some boundaries? What's an area in your own life that you know you need to set some boundaries? Put it in the comments. Let's hold each other accountable today. How about that? Hey, Kiki, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Dina, I just saw your comment. Dina says, can I make a controversial comment? Absolutely. I don't know if you're still watching. But you know, we deal with truth over here. Come on, say what you got to say. Dina says, can I make a controversial comment? Sis, if you still here, say what you got to say. You know, listen, you know your sis here. I got a strong spine. I ain't no jellyfish over here. Yes, Kiki. Kiki says, oh, we are talking about boundaries. I can dig it. We absolutely are, sis. We absolutely are. So again, I say, Dina, if you are still in the room, feel free to make your comments, sis. Okay? All right. All right. So let's keep it moving, y'all. We're going to keep it moving. And Dina, as soon as I see your comment, if you're still here, we will address it. All right. So now let's get to the last point that I want to make today. And I want to share with you. I want to help you because that's what we do in this space. I want to give you some steps to say no without feeling guilty. So we talked about it. We talked about the fact that boundaries are necessary. We talked about how saying no is necessary. Prayerfully, I've given you a really good example of one that we all love, admire, that we all say we serve, right? Not all, but most of us. And setting boundaries. I tried to make a case for you or to you that setting boundaries is actually a biblical principle. So now let's get down to how we do this. All right. How do we do this? All right, Dina has typed in her comments. So I'm gonna put a pin in those steps so I can read what Dina has said. When I was active in church, saying no was not an option. Ooh, that's hot. I served in 2 ministries that took a lot, all caps, a lot of time, and was asked to serve in others. I said no and was treated differently. Dina, I don't even think that's controversial, sis. I think that's just the truth. And I would I don't even dare to say I believe and I say very firmly that there are so many other people who will testify with you that this is the truth. Dina says when she was active in church, saying no, it was not an option. And if you said no, then you would be treated differently. And I agree. There's this idea that, because the pastor asked you to do it, or the first ladybug asked you to do it. You know what I'm saying? Or, if you love the Lord, or we have this need and you're able, and you're good at this, so you should be able to do this. And so to say no, you're made to feel like your no to the pastor is no to God, and it ain't. I need people to understand. If you have to tell the pastor no, that does not equate telling God no. Here's the thing. This is why it's so important for you to have a relationship with Yah all for yourself. It is so important for you to read the word yourself. It is so important for you to have this quiet time with the Lord. This is so important for you to be able to steal away and hear what God has to say to you, so that you will know that when the pastor comes to you, you will know that this is the Lord speaking through this person to talk to me. The Lord is confirming a thing through pastor to me. The Lord is encouraging, right? The Lord is exhorting. The Lord is correcting, whatever. You will know that I know this is God. And so it won't be about giving the pastor a yes. You will know that God is using the pastor to get to me now. So the yes or the no that I'm going to give, it is directed at God. You will know that. The issue is oftentimes when we are really heavy in the church, that's exactly what we are. We're really heavy in the church, but that don't necessarily mean that we are really heavy in the relationship that we have with God. And so sometimes the people will get us into this place where we will feel guilty, we get frustrated, we get overwhelmed, but these people are requiring things of us that God is not requiring. But oftentimes when you are really, really, really heavy in the church and you on this committee and that committee and you doing this and you in this group and that group, you don't even really have time to study your work. Can I just be honest? Since we talking the truth, most of us don't even have time to sit and read our word and study the word and pray and do the things that God wants us to do because we're doing 100 things at the church. And I'm going to say to you today that this applies across the board. We have got to learn to give people a very healthy no. When that yes is not aligned with the Lord and what he is leading you to do, we got to give people a no, and we have to be okay with that. And dare I say this, sometimes giving that no the Lord will reveal who you dealing with. He will reveal who you working with. Because if you are asked to do something and you are already overwhelmed and you are already stretched thin and you are already in this place of burnout and you express this and you go, listen, I love you, Pastor. I love the church. As you can see, I'm doing all of these things and I really do not have an issue, but I am stretched too thin. I cannot do this. If that person treats you in any kind of negative way as you are being honest and vulnerable with them, then the Lord is revealing to you who you're dealing with. At that point, you take that to the Lord to say, okay, Lord, I see what you're showing me. How do you want me to respond to this? How do I need to, like, what needs to happen at this point? Because I know this ain't you. Right? So I feel you, Dina. I got you, sis. I agree with you. I agree with you. Kiki says, I am proud of you for saying no, because it is important to rebuke what may not benefit you. Dina says, celebrate recovery is where God reached me. I absolutely felt right while serving there. Awana Cubbies is the other ministry, teaching and loving the littles, 3 to 4 year olds. Between the two, it took all my free time. Oh gosh, Dina, that's a good one. She says, I felt like I was serving man's needs and not what God was instructing. And I believe most of us, if not all of us, who have ever been heavily involved in a church can agree that sometimes you feel like you're serving the needs of the people, and what they want and desire versus what the Lord is leading and calling you to do. I think that's a fair statement. And I just want to say thank you, Dina, for being honest and for and being willing to comment something that you would consider controversial. And I don't see it as controversial. I just see it as the truth. I guess the truth can be controversial, huh? All right. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you. So here we go. Let's talk about some steps to say no without guilt. The first thing that I want to say to you all is that we've got to recognize that no is a complete sentence. We have heard this over and over and over and over and over, and we just got to start believing it. You do not have to explain. You do not have to justify. You do not have to over apologize for protecting your peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding. You do not have to justify it. You do not have to qualify it. You do not have to explain it. You do not have to over apologize. One of my mentors, I love her so much. I remember Alicia said to me one time, she said, learn to live your life unapologetically. And this was before everybody was talking about unapologetic. This was years and years ago, way back in like 2006. She spoke this thing to me. And I remember I carried that with me throughout the years, because what I understood in that moment was, Angel, you're going to have to live your life in such a way that you don't have to apologize for the things that you do. Living unapologetically doesn't mean go around doing stuff that people are not apologizing. No, what it means is that you should live your life in a way that an apology is not required. And I say that to you in your no's. Make sure that the no that you give is what you mean. My mama used to say what you mean and mean what you say. If you don't mean it, don't say it. And if you mean it, say it. So if I give you a no, then I need to know that this no, it lines up with the Lord. This no that I'm giving you, it lines up with what I'm supposed to be doing. This no that I'm giving you is what I mean. So there's no need for me to apologize for the no. It's no. Instead of you walking around talking about, I'm sorry, you can simply just say, I just don't think that I can. I'm not going to be able to do that. Can I get $20? I don't have the expendable money. No. Because some people will look at you like, I know you got $20. Okay, I didn't say I don't have $20. I'm telling you, I don't have an expendable $20. That's what that means. I don't have $20 to give to you today. You ain't got to explain it. Right. I don't have $20 to give to you. You cooking a day? No. You ain't got to say, oh, I'm so tired, girl. I don't cook. No, I'm just not. You cooking a day? No, I'm not. You do not need to feel guilty. Absolutely not. Oh, Angel, I'm having this event. Can you come to this event? No, I'm not going to be able to make it. Not, I can't make that commitment, but I appreciate you for thinking of me. Y'all know how many times I tell people no? I tell people no. Angel, can you come to this event? I'll tell them no, I'm not going to be able to make it. However, here's a donation. If I can do that, sometimes I said no just because. Sometimes it's something that I believe in or something that I want to participate in, but I don't want to overcommit myself. So I may say here, thank you for thinking of me. I love what you're doing. Here's a donation, but I'm not gonna be able to make it. Sometimes it's just a simple, not gonna be able to make it, but thank you for thinking of me. No guilt, no apologies, no explanations. I had to grow from that place. I used to be the person who would tell you no, but before I said no, I had to tell you all the things that I had going on, all the things I was doing or whatever, so that you would somehow understand the no that I was going to give you. I no longer sit in that place. I'm not explaining nothing that I got going on. I don't feel the need to tell you nothing about what's happening in my personal life, my professional life, or nothing. I'm either gonna do it or I'm not gonna do it, and that's gonna be it. Right now, I am giving you some steps on how to say no without the guilt. You've got to recognize that your no is a complete sentence. May I borrow $5? No. No. You don't have $5 to give me? I do not have five expendable dollars to give to you. No. But why not? I don't have it. Don't ask me again. And if you're on the phone, hang up. And if y'all in person, walk off. You do not have to sit and explain why you told somebody no, you ain't got $5 to give them, or you don't want to give them $5. You don't have to explain that. Oh, it's John's fifth birthday. You're gonna bring little Casey something. You gotta bring it because we're gonna do what it was. We're not gonna be able to make it. Thank you so much for the invite, but we can't make it. You're not coming? No. Well, why are you not coming? We're not going to be able to make it, but thank you for thinking of us. I'll talk to you later. Right. See, Cecilia says, I would feel like I was being mean. No, that saying no is not you not being mean. You are telling people what you mean, not mean as in a bad thing, but what you believe to be so for you. You do not have to explain. You do not have to justify. You do not have to over apologize your no. Then I would think about not wanting to lose the relationship for saying no. Ooh, that's a good one. I love when y'all comment because it helps to really, really deal with what folks really sitting with. So Cecilia says she would think about not wanting to lose the relationship for saying no. when I worked with a coach, I have told y'all this so many times. I worked with a coach, and I dealt with a limiting belief that I had. I didn't realize it was a limiting belief, but it was. And I believed, and a fear. So there was a belief and then there was a fear. I was able to overcome the fear of loss, which is also attached to a fear of rejection. When this coach said to me, Angel, you can't lose what was never yours. You can't lose what you never had. I sat with that thing for a while. Anyone who is supposed to be connected to you, who leaves because you stand up in your own authenticity and you give them a genuine, honest response, if they choose to leave or reject you, guess what? You never had them in the first place. They were never truly connected to you in the first place. They were probably attachments. People who just attach themselves to you for whatever reasons. They were probably parasitic anyway. They were probably sucking the lifeblood out of you anyway. They were never connected to you as a divine connection, because a person who has been divinely and strategically connected to you by heaven will understand and will hear your authentic voice. And when you give them a no, I am not able to do it, they will not leave you for being honest. Anyone who chooses to leave you, to reject you, to ostracize you for showing up as your authentic self and speaking with your true voice and saying, no, baby, you didn't lose nothing and you need to let them go. Let them go. Thank you for sharing how you used to walk in that place, Cecilia, because I believe there are people who are still sitting in that place today. I believe there are people who are still sitting in that place today. So thank you for sharing that. Absolutely, Harold Best thoughts. Attachments that are attacking you. Absolutely. People get weird when talking about or saying no to church expectations. They do, and we moving behind people in their weirdness. We are moving beyond the weirdness of weird people. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So recognize that no is a complete sentence. Once you decide or realize rather that you can say no and you don't have to explain it or justify it or any of those things, then go ahead and set some boundaries and then stick to them. This is the hard part. Stick to the boundary. If you said you're not going to go, don't go. Let me tell y'all what we do sometimes. I can say it because I know I've done it. I will say, I'm not gonna go do this thing. Just let's say just something generic. I'm not gonna eat cookies anymore. Let's say I tell myself I'm not gonna eat cookies anymore. Cookies do this, and that. They're not good for me. I'm not eating. I'm gonna set this bound. I don't care where I'm going. I don't care if we go out of town and we had, we go to an event and cookies is what they're serving. I'm not eating cookies. I don't care. We go to a bakery. I'm going to get something else, but I'm not going to eat these cookies. I don't care. We go to this baby shower. All they got is cookies and punch. I'm not going to eat these cookies, right? Cookies. I say I'm not going to eat cookies, right? I set a boundary. And here's what we will do. We will go into places and then we will give ourselves reasons that it's okay for us to cross over this boundary today and we can go back. Nobody influenced us, nobody trying to make us, but we will transgress our own boundary, and therefore we loosen up the boundary, and now when it comes time for us to enforce it, it's harder because now we're like, well, when I went to the baby shower, I ate a cookie and nothing really happened. So I guess it might not be that bad. So, now I'm at this wedding and all they got is these cookies for dessert. And so, I did it at the baby shower. So, so listen, you ain't even sticking to your own boundary. And as soon as you set a boundary that you don't stick to, it's one thing when you don't stick to it in private. Because let me tell you, if you don't stick to it in private, you ain't going to stick to it in public either. Then you don't stick to that boundary and someone sees you not stick with it. So now you're going to have this feeling of when you go somewhere else and now you're trying to stick with this boundary that you set for yourself, but somebody saw you not stick with it over here. And that person is with you, and now you're going, oh, I don't eat cookies. Now somebody's sitting next to you going, well, we just had the baby shower, you ate cookies. So now you don't eat cookies with the wedding. So I thought. So now you find yourself, now you got to explain it. Or you feel like you have to explain it. Now you feel like you got to justify why you ate the cookies at the baby shower, but now you're not going to eat the cookies but guess what? If you simply set the boundary and stick to the boundary in personal spaces and in public spaces, guess what? It will be easier for you to stick with it, period. Understand, people are going to test your boundaries. People are going to test your boundaries. You're going to test your boundaries. But that doesn't mean you have to change them. Just because people are going to test you, that just because situations are going to come up that test your no or test whatever limits you set for yourself, that doesn't mean that you should be changing them. Listen, in private and in the public, if you say to yourself, I am not doing any work after 7 o'clock, like when 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time shows up, I am not doing any work. I don't care what is going on. When 7 p.m. hits, I am not going to do no work. Guess what? If you get an email that comes through and dings your phone at 7:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you have got to not check the email. You gotta not check the email. If you said I'm not doing no work, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is a hard no for me. No, set my boundaries. I got to stop working all through the night. 7 p.m., I'm shutting it down. If you get an email that shows up at 7:02 p.m. and it dings your phone, baby, no, do not check it. It can wait till tomorrow when you get back to checking your emails. You have got to set the boundaries and you have to stick to them. You have to, and the reason that I'm stressing these personal private moments is because we learn to transgress our boundaries privately before we ever have somebody test them publicly. You be done wore down your own fence before anybody else show up. You be done tested your own self. Understand. Prioritize what God has called you to do. When you are setting these boundaries, you need to prioritize what it is God has told you to do before everything else. All this stuff you want to do, all this stuff people want you to do, all this stuff your customers and clients want you to listen. You need to prioritize what is it that God has told me to do. I need to focus on that first. That's what I need to focus on first. Realize every opportunity that presents itself is not an assignment from God. Their opportunities are going to come, but you want to take the opportunities that the Lord is sending to you, that is an assignment for you, that is connected to what it is He has called you to do in this world. And listen, let me say this. Some opportunities are good opportunities, but again, If it is not an opportunity that God has sent to you that aligns with what it is that He wants you to do on the path, on the journey that you're on, baby, you got to learn to say no. You cannot say no to every single opportunity. And let me tell you what happens. Because you say yes to all these things, by the time the opportunity presents itself that you're supposed to say yes to, you say no to that because you're so tired and exhausted and you done had so many bad experiences with all the yeses that when you're supposed to say yes, now you're saying no. You all out of whack, you not in alignment, and it ain't working for you. I'm telling you, there are so many times that I meet women that I know. I'm like, I know, Lord, I know you're sending them. I know they're supposed to be here, but they have had so many bad experiences before they get to me that they quick to tell me no. But when we sit down and talk and they share why they're in the space. They telling me about all the things they done say yes to, and I'm sitting here like, okay, so, and listen, it happens all the time with authors, y'all. I'm gonna just tell y'all, this happens so much with authors. It has happened so much over the years, and it's not even funny. I will meet when women will come to me or they'll meet me in some kind of way, right? And then they start sharing and they start talking about what they need and what they need with. And so then start asking questions like, so okay, you got a book? Yeah, I got a book. So what's the problem? Well, they don't work with this publisher that charged them $3,527.19 to publish this book. Now they don't have the rights to the book. Now they can't afford to get copies of the book. Now they got all these issues. They ain't making no money. They got all this stuff, right? They don't went over here. They don't work with this person. And now they done spend all this money trying to do this and that and the other. Then by the time they get to me, because somebody done told them, you need to go meet Angel. She'll help you. So then they come over to me and it's like, well, I need this. And I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be, let's just say this is going to be $200. Now, mind you, they done spent $3,500 and, over here, and they done spent, 16. And then I said, well, this is going to be, and they were like, oh, I don't know. You know why? Because they said yes and yes when they should have said no and no. And now when they need to give a yes, they got to say no. Listen, but if you line up what you're doing with what the Lord is, what He is prioritizing, what He says you should do, when you are sitting in a place where you actually are listening to the Lord and you're doing what He tells you to do, you're studying to show yourself approved, you know who you're laboring among, you listen, you take time to get wisdom and wise counsel before you make decisions, then you will be able to give your yeses where they should go and your no's where they should go. It happens so much, y'all. It's just the wildest thing. It's the wildest thing. So I'm telling you today, prioritize what God has called you to do, not what is cute, not what is fluffy and shiny, and not all the, all these shiny pennies people showing y'all. If God does not call you to do it, if it is not directly aligned, if you have not studied this thing out, if you have not vetted, if you haven't, you need to learn how to say no. Not every opportunity is an assignment. Before saying yes to anything, you have to ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? Do I have the capacity for this? Is this something that God is leading me to do? Have I done my due diligence and determining whether or not this is a God said? If you say no, then you need to say no. If the answer to any of these questions is a no, then your response to what is being asked should be no. It should be no. Y'all tracking? Did I lose anybody on that one? Yes, Harold Best thought. She says, I need to take my email off my phone then. Absolutely. Let me tell y'all, I have multiple phones and multiple lines. My personal phone number, I do not give that out. I do not attach business emails to my personal phone. I do not give business people my personal phone number. Why? Because it's personal. I set boundaries. If you call my personal phone, and some of y'all know this, Deborah has my personal number, so she knows this. If you call my personal number and your name does not pop up, I don't answer it. Why? Because this is my personal phone. I don't know how you got this number. Who sent you? I'm not answering it. You better leave a message. I'll check the message to determine whether or not it's something I need to call back. Hear what I'm telling you. Some of y'all give your personal number to everybody. Stop doing that. Stop it. Don't do it no more. If your name is not in my contact list, so if you call my personal phone, your name gonna come up, then I know I can answer this. I'm not one of those people who don't answer my personal phone, because if I gave you my number, then I don't mind talking to you. So if you call me and I ain't sleep or using the bathroom or doing a live, if you call me, I'm gonna answer the phone. Why? Because I want to talk to you. Why? Because I gave you my personal number, so it's okay to call me. But if somebody give you my personal number and like, oh, just give Angel a call, your name not gonna come up in my phone. Guess what? I'm not answering it. Why? Because they ain't got nothing. That ain't personal. I don't know you. I have a business phone that is connected to Speak Up Sis. When you call it, if you get the voicemail to tell you, you reach Speak Up Sis. That is a business phone. It's a totally separate phone. It's not a separate line. It's a separate phone. If listen, at 5 p.m., I turn that phone off. Why? Because we're not doing no business. The empowerment center, if I'm in there 10 to 5, listen, 5 o'clock is off. I'm not taking no calls. With my business phone, I may not answer it all the time. If I'm doing something, if I'm working or whatever, I let the voicemail pick it up. If it's business, they'll leave a message. These are how you set boundaries, people. I have a third line too. I have a third line. Listen, I told y'all I try to give you stuff you can actually use. I'm not here just talking fluff. Ain't just motivational. I'm not a motivational speaker. I really want you to be well. I'm giving you stuff that works. I have a third line. This is not a third phone. This is a third line. I have a third line that is a professional line that will let you reach me. Understand? It will let you reach me on my business phone. So there are some people that there's some contacts that are strictly Speak Up Sis business, boop, 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 boop. That's it. Then there are connections. There are professional connections where I want this person to know this ain't just like, here go your invoice, go, whatever. But I want to build a business professional relationship with you. I will give them a specific number to call. So when I see that number call, their name is going to show up. It's calling on a specific line. That lets me know this isn't just like regular business, just some random person calling to ask about Speak Up Sis. This lets me know this is a person that I am building a professional relationship with. And so that call is going to get a different conversation than someone who's just random calling about the business. These are boundaries that I have set for myself so that I can let business stay where it needs to be. I can build relationships in the way I need to build them professionally, and I can keep my personal life separate from my business life. I hope it's helpful. Hey, Tammy, how you doing? Thank you for joining. Okay. The last thing that I want to encourage you all to do in order to set these boundaries and not feel guilty is to let go of people pleasing. You have got to stop the people pleasing. You have got to stop it. Please stop it. It doesn't serve you. It don't look good on you. Stop it. I'm just going to tell you, I have said this a million times before, and I'm going to say it again. People pleasing is rooted in a spirit of pride. People pleasers are proudful people. You can get mad all you want. I don't care. You can click off the live. I don't care. I'm going to tell you. If you are a people pleaser, if you suffer from people pleasing, then you are also struggling with the spirit of pride. Somebody got to tell you, so I might as well tell you. Understand that. Let's go to the scripture really quickly. Let's go to the scripture. Galatians chapter 1. Let's go there. Galatians chapter 1. Galatians chapter 1 verse 10 says, "For do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I still please men, I would not be a bondservant to Christ." Let's read that again. "For do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I still please men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ." If pleasing people comes before pleasing God, something has to change. Let me explain to you why I say that people pleasing is rooted in a spirit of pride. Because typically, if you are a people pleaser, you say yes to people even when you don't want to say yes, because you care about what those people think about you. Here again, what is the foundation of what's happening? It's rooted in you. It ain't, you're not doing it because you want to help them. You're doing it because you don't want them to think some kind of way about you. That means it's all about you. It ain't really about them. "Hey, cuz, man, my car done broke down again. Girl, can you take me to work? Here you go." Child, I'm so you thinking to yourself, "I'm so tired. Your car always broke. You just won't spend. You always got money, but you won't spend your money to get your doggone car fixed. But you always calling me, and I'm all this. You thinking your cousin on the phone, cuz my car broke again. Can you take me to work?" You over here. "Oh Lord, I wish they would use some of that money to get their car fixed. I'm so sick and tired." But here you go. "All right, cuz, what time you need me to be there?" Oh, but so here, why did you say yes? You said yes because you've been saying yes. And now if you say no, you think you don't want that. You don't want cuz to think that you don't want to help them, which you really don't want to do it right now. But you don't want them to think that you don't want to help them, because you don't want them to think that you got. It's all about, I don't want them to think some kind of way about me. Baby, that's pride. That's pride. And it's a lie. It's a lie. I want to help you today. You got to let go of the people pleasing. "Oh, Pastor asked me to do this thing. Pastor asked me to teach children church. I don't really, oh Lord. I don't want Pastor to think that I don't want to be helpful at the church. I don't want Pastor to think that I don't really want to help the kids, because I love the kids. I just don't want to do this. And I don't want nobody to think that I'm not trying to be. I don't want nobody to think. It's all about, you don't want somebody to think some way about you. I know this is hard. Don't nobody want to hear this. I know y'all can click off. Them views start dropping when you start having to address what the real issues are. If you have an issue with setting boundaries without feeling guilty, and you are dealing with people pleasing, I'm telling you that you need to let it go, because people pleasing is a form of bondage. It is a form of pridefulness. It keeps you saying yes out of fear of what people gonna think about you, or fear of people rejecting you, or fear of you losing something that you're getting from that relationship. It is a place of bondage, and you gotta let it go. You have to let it go. Yes, Dina. Dina says that scripture hits hard. It does. It does. Nobody wants, anytime I say people pleasing is rooted in pride, people go, I'm not, what you mean? It's not about me. I really care about, nobody is saying that you don't care about people. But what I am saying is that if you tell people yes, when you really want to say no, one, you're a liar. You're doing something, you're saying you want to do something that you really don't. So, one, you're a liar. Own it. If you say yes when you really mean no, you just lied. You're a liar. Two, you operating in pride. Why? Because you're more concerned about the way you're gonna look in somebody else's eyes than just telling the truth. And you're in bondage. Why? Because you can't move freely. You can't operate freely because you are tethered to this feeling of guilt. You're tethered to fear. All three of those. If you are people pleasing, own it. Yes, Dina. She says, when faced with hard truth, it makes people uncomfortable. Looking into oneself is difficult for many. It absolutely is. But I'm going to keep on showing up, and I'm going to keep on telling you all the truth. It's a truth that I had to face for my own self. I'm not telling you something that I think, I'm telling you what I know. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and wrap for today. And I want to remind you all, like, saying no is not about being mean. I promise you, it is not about being mean. It's not even about being selfish. It is necessary. Setting boundaries keeps you in your own lane. I want you to think about it in terms of driving a car. If you're driving a car and you know those are reflective lines on the ground, the white lines and the yellow lines, those are boundaries. They keep everybody in their lane. Those little dotted white lines, they let you know that you can cross over here. It's cool. It's safe for you to come over in this lane when you see them. If you see, right, those yellow lines, those straight, yeah, that's a hard, don't come over here. What happens when you're on a road and the lines have been worn out? When you're in a town and the city is not keeping up with those reflective lines, they're all blurred. There, you can't see them. You don't know if it's white or if it's yellow. You don't even know if they got lines. What happens when the boundary lines on the road get so blurred that you don't see them clearly? You're gonna have more accidents. You're gonna have more people crossing over into lanes. You're gonna have people who don't realize that this is a 2 lane and not a 1. You're gonna have folks doing all kind of stuff. And when it rains, let me tell you, boundaries protect you when the storm comes. When you got, like, when the crazy stuff in life is happening, and you get natural disasters in your spiritual world, when you got attacks coming, when you got all this stuff happening, boundaries protect you. They protect you even in the storm, especially, listen, especially in the storm. Use that analogy of a road and cars. When it's raining really, 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 really heavy, those roads that don't have clear reflective lines, that have been worn out over time, that have not been shored up, they've not been redone. When it's raining really heavily, it is so hard to see those lines. It's so hard. So now you got to drive real slow. You still going to be swerving even if the wind blowing. It's just a mess. But when you're on a road, They have those reflectors. They knew them lines are redone on a regular basis. Even when it's raining hard, you can focus on the lines. Like, you can't see the cars in front of you, but you can focus on them lines. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I can see them lines. It helps you stay in your lane. It's the same way in your life. When you have firm boundaries that you revisit, that you repaint them lines, sometimes you got to come back to a boundary. You have to ask yourself, am I widening this road? Do I need to change the boundary? Am I going to allow more things? Do I have the capacity to allow more things? Well, then maybe I may have been on a single highway, like this is all I can do. Well, now the Lord has increased my capacity. He's increased my faith. He's increased. So now, you know what? I can create a 2-lane, highway in my life. So now I'm going to have to redo the boundaries. So before, I could only do this and there was no crossing. Well, now, I can open up. I can create 2 lanes. But you know what? I'm going to put a hard yellow line here. So we got two way. Now I can go up and come down. Whereas before I had to do everything in 1 lane. Now I got a hard yellow line. Guess what? When the Lord shifts things in your life, then you might be able to move, change that hard yellow line to a dotted white line. It still keeps you separate, but now I can allow some other people to go in the same direction. We can move in and out. So as the Lord increases you, as he shifts, as he does what he does, you can revisit the boundaries and say, now I don't mind doing this time. Now I can, but you have to at least start with some boundaries. You have to at least start with them. You can't shift what ain't there. I hope today has been helpful. I pray. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Thank you so much for coming over on TikTok. I am getting ready to end the conversation today. I really appreciate you all for coming in. I encourage you all to set at least one boundary this week in your personal life, in your professional life, in your spiritual life, whatever that is. All right. If today's talk has been helpful, I ask that you will share the live, share it with other people. Encourage people to come into this space if you believe that this is a good space to be in. Now, if you don't think that this is good, if you don't learn anything, then I don't even know why you're here. But if you believe that this is a good space, that you learn in this space, that you're growing from being in this space, that I invite you to share the live, the 11 a.m. talk with other people, invite them into the space. And don't forget, we'll be right back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, if the Lord says so. I'll be back here. We're going to continue this talk about boundaries. Okay. And anybody have anything to say before we get out of here for today? Dina says, some, me in parentheses, some find their value in helping others solely because it's difficult to look inward and make necessary changes. Ooh, that's a good one, Dina. That's a good one. It's important for us to know that we're just as valuable as everybody else. How about this? The same way that you can see the value in someone. Let me make it personal because I'm talking to Dina. Dina, the same way that you can meet me, fall in love with Speak Up Sis, love me as a sister in Christ, show up to support, do all the things, because over the years, you have been such a supporter of Speak Up Sis. Guess what? What God has called you to do deserves the same quality and quantity of support, love, and care from others, just like what you give. You are just as valuable, right, in this world, in the kingdom of heaven, to other people and within yourself as I am. Sometimes We see people in the media, we see them on social media, you see me on the screen, people, you hear people on the radio or whatever, and somehow we place a greater value on people who seemingly have a larger influence or a larger platform, or they just seem to have so many people around them. Sometimes we will place a greater value on them than ourselves because like they just have a greater influence than I do. So, and I'm gonna tell you, God don't look at things that way. He does not look at things that way, and we got to stop. Remember it was time to give. It was time to give a tithe. And there's a story in the Bible where this where a wealthy person is giving their 10%. It's what they were supposed to do. It was the duty that they have. There was nothing wrong or bad about this person giving 10%. Then there was this woman who comes up and she gave her 2 pence. She gave, and the Bible says that her giving was all that she had. Even in giving all that she had, it was still less than the person who gave the 10%. But I want you to think about that. In the Bible, we get an understanding that her small amount, because she gave all that she had, it was valued greatly in the kingdom. Just as much as this 10%, if not more than this 10% that was given. Even though the 10% was more than what she gave in terms of numbers, the fact that it was all that she had gave it more weight. It's important for us to grasp this understanding when we start talking about our own personal value. And we will value a person with $1 million who's able to give $100,000. Baby, that ain't nothing but a drop in the bucket for them. But someone who only has $100 and they give you their whole $100, we'd be like, oh, thank you for that. No, baby, she gave her whole 100. That's all she had. How can you value that less? You shouldn't. So I give that to you, Dina, on today specifically. Understand, sis, you are just as valuable. And listen, and in certain spaces and certain opportunities, certain arenas, more valuable. Your voice in the place God has called it to be will have more weight than mine will ever have in the same place that I was not assigned to. There are people who have greater influence than me who could not show up in the spaces God has called me to be in and influence anybody. People will be looking like, we don't even, who are you? We don't even know you. Don't nobody care nothing about that. We want to hear Angel. Why? Because they weren't assigned to this place. It's not what these ain't the people they supposed to be talking to in this way. So we must understand that. I pray that that helps you, sis. I love you. All right. So y'all have an amazing day. I pray that you have been helped in some form or fashion today. And with that, I am out. I love y'all with the love of Jesus. And there's absolutely nothing y'all can do about it. I'll see y'all tomorrow.